This is lesson 2 from unit 1, and it's activity number 3. This is a card sort in which the kids are given cards and they're supposed to sort into 3 different categories. These lessons are on transformations of images, and those categories are 3 different transformations. One is a translation, a second is a rotation, and the third is a reflection. So the kids sort the cards based on those categories. Now, this is where I got the idea of having kids make their own images. And in the video on doing some cool things based on this lesson, this is the idea of making their own hexagon. So since they're using isometric dot paper, you can put dots around the vertices for a hexagon, and then you just translate, move each dot randomly away from where it is originally, or you can leave it in the same spot if you want. Connect the points, and then you can make a reflection. Now, Doceri doesn't allow you to reflect images, so then you have to construct them on your own. Because in this isometric dot paper, there's a point at each vertex, it is pretty easy to make the reflection. So this would be a good task for students, because all they have to do is look at one point and then put the corresponding point the appropriate distance away. And so place this point, look at the corresponding point and place it. This point, corresponding point, place it. So relative to the position of these other points. So it becomes a nice task for kids to actively do, to really embed in their minds what a reflection is. You can get rid of the lines and the dots, and there you have the 2 images. Give them some color, get rid of the isometric dot paper, and for this activity you need, and if this is a rabbit, you need the ears pointing to the left and the nose pointing to the right for the green rabbit, and then you need a reflection of that and also a translation or just a copy of that same rabbit to start with. All right, so the green rabbit's going to stay in one spot. The burgundy rabbit's going to kind of dance around that green rabbit, and the kids have to decide each of those moves, each of those transformations. Are they translations, rotations, or reflections? So I'm going to give you some ideas on how to think about this. Actually, I'm going to give you the answers. So number 1, once again, if you want to make it engaging for the kids, one thing that you can do is change the background and give them something that's very pleasing to look at. Again, that burgundy shape is dancing around the green shape. And so how do you look at these? How do you analyze what's going on? So this is number 1. And number 1 is a translation. And again, if kids are doing this in Doceri, and I know it takes a lot of time, especially in the beginning as they're learning Doceri and how much they're going to do on their own, this is a nice activity in which they can do it at home on their own with their iPads using Doceri. And I'm going to give you these images, give you a link to these images so that you can use them. So this is translation. Number 2 is a rotation, and I started drawing a circle and making it go through one of the points that is rotated around. So this, you just need one circle, since the center of rotation is one of the vertices of the image. You only need one circle to really size the rotations correctly and rotate them around. Number 3 is a reflection. I'm going to talk about how to identify it as a reflection. You put the corresponding points, or you match the corresponding points, draw lines. Then if you can draw a line that's perpendicular to those lines that connect the corresponding points, it is a reflection. That is, you're drawing the line of reflection. Number 4, another reflection. Number 5, another reflection. Number 5 is interesting in that it really looks like a rotation. We go back and forth just for a second. I can't do that. It really looks like a rotation. But if you rotate, if you take the same image and you rotate it, you notice that the nose of the rabbit ends up on the wrong side. Should be over here and ends up over here, and the ears end up pointing in the wrong direction. The ears should be here and they end up pointing here. So this is really a reflection. So if you draw lines connecting those corresponding points and draw a line then that's perpendicular to those, you see the line of reflection that it reflects over. So if kids are actively doing this, they're suddenly seeing it. They're actually working on it and feeling it and seeing what's going on. Number 6 is a rotation. So this is the center of rotation, is kind of the nose of the rabbit, and the hind leg. I drew a circle that connects the hind legs, and you can then use that again to size the images and have them rotate around that center of rotation. Number 7 is a translation. Number 8 is a translation. Number 9 is a rotation. Again, the same idea. You say that this back leg here is a center rotation, so I drew a circle that connected the noses of the rabbit. So I start out with the green one and the burgundy one, draw the circle, and then use that to place the rest of these as rotate them around. So it helps keep the size correct and the rotation correct. Number 10 is a translation. 11 is a reflection. I had trouble with this, so I finally just copied the image that was provided in the curriculum to show connecting the corresponding points and drawing the line of reflection. Number 12 was tough. Number 12, I kept thinking it was both a rotation and a translation. I just had trouble getting away from that idea. And finally, I figured out how to draw it as a reflection. As a rotation. I'm going to go into that in a little while. All right, so the translations. So if you go through them quickly, you can see that the images just kind of dance around, and you can come up with other activities for the kids to do, drawing different translations as you actually rotate the translation around the green image. Rotations. Same idea. All the rotations, with the exception of number 12, the other 3 rotations, the center of rotations, they point on the image. The problem with 12 is they move away from that. The center of rotation is actually out here a little bit. I'm going to show you that again in a few moments. Reflections. And again, you could actually draw the reflections so they kind of move around that green image. Just a task that would be interesting to do. This is, again, a nice figure that shows you how to identify the line of reflection. It's the midpoint between each of the line segments that connect the corresponding points. So you find the midpoint, and Docere will do that for you. If you draw a line from out here somewhere, it will snap to the midpoint. So that identifies the midpoint. You can draw a line from here all the way down to here, and it will snap to this midpoint. So it helps you find the midpoint. All right, so rotating figures. I started to draw 2 circles to show you that every point on that image has to rotate in the same way. So this has a circle going through the nose and a circle going through, I call that the mouth. These are the ears, and call this the back of the neck, I guess. And you can see the image rotate around that. So in this case, it's rotating clockwise. Another one, this is the nose, and this is called the mouth. So 2 circles to help you size the rotation and place the rotation as it rotates around. And again, these are counterclockwise rotations. So that language is going to help the kids describe what's going on. So it's nice to have them do these activities in Docere. So a little bit more. Okay, this is where the center of rotation is not on the image. It's outside of the image. It's out here. So I actually had to draw 3 circles to get this to work correctly. So a circle in which this point rotates around, this point rotates around, and this point rotates around. And the way that I identified, I'm not going to do that. All right, and this is number 12. And so the way that I identified the center of rotation is I put the other figure on the screen, and I drew a circle that goes through this point and this point. And then I just found the center of that circle. And then using that same center, I drew another circle that goes through the ears here and goes through the ears here, and a third circle that goes through the hind leg here and the hind leg here. So once I had those three circles drawn, then I can rotate images around. I could size them correctly, and I could position them or place them correctly. So each of these points has to match. This one was kind of tough. I couldn't get it right there. Oh, actually, it's this point. It's this point right here. Sorry. So the ears are on the circle, and the nose is on the circle. Same with this one. The ears are on the circle, the nose is on the circle, and this hind leg's on the circle. So then you can get rid of that and step them around. So lots of things for the kids to do, interesting activities, and the more active you can make the kids using their images in Docere, the better they will learn this material.